Tom Aspinall's meteoric rise in MMA has got him from British contender to UFC interim gold, but only one fight can be next. Tom Aspinall has been waiting patiently in the wings for his shot at UFC gold. The Manchester native has spent years lurking in the shadows of the heavyweight division's elite, but his moment is now closer than ever. In just 4 years, Aspinall has shot to the UFC's summit, positioning himself as a force to be reckoned with, while securing a coveted spot as the interim heavyweight champion. With UFC 309 on the horizon, where reigning champion Jon Jones will face MMA veteran Stipe Miocic at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden, Aspinall's sights are firmly set on the outcome of its main event bout. For Aspinall, this heavyweight showdown should set the stage for the ultimate clash, a unification bout that could cement his status alongside Jones as one of the sport's all-time greats. Yet, this vision has been tarnished by Jones himself, who believes a bout with Aspinall would disrupt his own legacy in the UFC. Jones told fans in November that he is in a legends-only league and suggested to MMA journalist Kevin Iole that a fight with the 31-year-old Brit is unlikely, saying Aspinall just hasn't proved anything. Advertisement. But Aspinall's record suggests otherwise. Since making his UFC debut in July 2020, he's proven himself in spectacular fashion by overcoming a serious injury in between knocking out opponents in record time that he finished Jake Collier in 45 seconds on his debut for Dana White's promotion, which kicked off a 5-fight win streak that witnessed him dismantle some of the division's most intimidating names. Aspinall's early UFC record includes dominant victories over the likes of Sergey "Polar Bear" Spivak, who has only 4 losses in his 21 professional bouts, and Russia's Alexander Volkov, a veteran nearing his 50th MMA fight. Aspinall also holds the UFC record for the shortest fight time for competitors with a minimum of 5 bouts, typically finishing his opponents just after the 2-minute mark with 8 finishes since 2020, second only to Kevin Holland. He also has racked up the highest number of knockdowns per 15 minutes inside the octagon, averaging over 4. Not only has Aspinall finished all but one of his opponents in the first round, but he has fought his way back from brutal setbacks. Aspinall tore his medial collateral ligament, MCL, against Curtis Blades in July 2022, which ended his 5-fight win streak and killed all the momentum behind him since making his UFC debut. "A lot of people get injured in a gym with 10 people there," he told CNN Sports in July. "I got injured with 25,000 home fans screaming my name and millions watching around the world. It's a big blow to the ego." It may have been a big blow to the 31-year-old, but Aspinall has been crafted to deal with these situations from a very young age. Growing up in the town of Atherton in Greater Manchester, he was introduced to MMA by his father Andy. His dad, a former fighter himself, used to work in IT, before transitioning into teaching jiu-jitsu full-time. Even on his mum's side, Aspinall was surrounded by fighters and boxers, who he says, although weren't always doing it professionally, were still always scraping away. Aspinall had tried out all of the various martial arts by the time he was 11, including boxing, wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Shortly after, he was then brought to Liverpool and introduced to Team Caobon head coach Colin Heron. Aspinall's father struck a deal with Heron, who wanted to be introduced to jiu-jitsu, in exchange for one-to-one training sessions with his son. It didn't take long for him to rack up a streak of amateur MMA victories, where he was taking as many bouts as possible and beating undefeated, young fighters. In 2015, Aspinall went through the hardest period of his career after turning professional and having children, as he was not able to source regular fights, which meant he struggled to provide for his family. He was on the verge of quitting the sport after a few years fighting on and off with no real consistency in his MMA career.